because it's really more about talking than it is about looking at the slides. So I'll just push on, I think. Okay. You can see that?
Working now. Yeah.
Great. Okay. Excellent. All right. So why occupational therapy? Well, I've been an OT my whole career, which is a long time now, and it is a fantastic career because you can sort of change, even though you're still an OT, you can do different things at different times. So I was a clinician for a long time, and then working primarily in healthcare services, hospitals, and then moved into running my own private practice for about 12 years. And then I've been an academic for, this is my 13th year. So I feel as though I've sort of had 3 careers as an OT. So it is a job that you can get variety and change, you know, as your interests and things change with your life as well. One of the challenges to explain OT is very diverse, but one of the great things is that it is diverse. So you can actually change work settings as well. I mean, my background's physical rehabilitation, and that's really all I've done. But some OTs start in working with children and paediatrics and might move to working with adults, for example. We work with all age groups, right from very young to very old. But we also do a lot more group and community work these days, particularly in Australia. So it's not all about just working with individuals. There's a lot of project work, policy, working for government, working for local agencies. So we can work with either individuals or groups to improve their lives, design services. We're quite involved in advocacy and policy development, and obviously education and research, which is what I do. Practice areas. Again, a large variety from community health services, rehabilitation services, hospitals. That tends to be what people traditionally think of OTs as doing, but that's becoming actually it's a shrinking area, if anything. The other areas are growth areas, particularly here. We've got a new, relatively new service called the National Disability Insurance Scheme. So there's a lot more work in disability in the community here, and I think that's happening as well in other countries. Aged care, residential care, that's a very growing area with the recognition that OTs have a lot to offer to people who are moving into residential care. A lot of OTs work in mental health services, as I said before, local government and councils. Paediatrics is another big area. So OTs can work in schools or different education services, but also in private practice, working alongside families and schools. We can be involved in occupational health and safety or industry, looking at workplace health, vocational rehabilitation. Insurance agencies is another area. So I've done a lot of work for what we have here is called the Transport Accident Commission. So it's people who've had car accidents. We have an insurance set up here. So you can be employed by insurance agencies to work with people after serious injury. And then also private practice and consultancy, which is a growing area as well. So our course here is, well, first and foremost, it's approved by the World Federation of Occupational Therapists. So that means that people that have this qualification effectively can work anywhere, but they do often need to be registered in their own country. And our course is an accredited course from the Occupational Therapy Council here, obviously, because it's an Australian-based course. And in Australia, we have registration, and I believe that's the case in a number of other countries too. So the qualification will be recognised, but people will still need to register in their own country. So the course, the way it's run, it's a 2-year accelerated program. We're based at Peninsula Campus, where I am today, which is in Frankston, which is outside of the central business district. So it's not particularly close to the city, which has advantages and disadvantages, but we're around, it takes me about 40 minutes to get to work by car. There is public transport. There's also accommodation on site, but we like it here because it's a smaller campus. It's beautiful. We're surrounded by gum trees. We have kookaburras in the trees, ducks in the lake. It's just a nice campus because we're just a bit out of the city and it's not quite as crazy as some of the ones in the city. To get into the course, you need to obviously have done a bachelor in an area, so a previous degree, and have got a 65 or over average for your grades. And we do require a minimum of a 6 credit point unit of study in human anatomy or physiology or a related area. So some people may have done that already in their course, and we'll have a look at their transcript to see if it meets our requirements, and if it does, that's fine. Otherwise, you may be required, you might get a provisional acceptance based on doing one of the short courses listed here that you would need to pass.
Linda,
yep.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I think your screen's just frozen on the intro slide.
So I've got here in front of me here the Master of Occupational Therapy Practice. Can you see that one?
The intro slide, it's the one that says your name under it. I think it's your intro slide.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe we'll just forget the whole business of the slides and give it away. I don't know what's going on there. Never had that problem before. But of course, it's always going to happen when you don't want it to. Okay, so hopefully you're following me okay anyway. So we have a mid-year intake. So that starts in July and it's full fee paying, which probably those of you who are interested already know. We use a variety of teaching and learning methods. So there are lectures, a lot more recorded lectures now because we've been doing a lot more online teaching, as all universities have around the world. And we also have tutorials in small groups and practicums, because it is a practical course. So people do need to be able to do pracs. So that's somewhat of a challenge, which we can talk about a little bit later in terms of international students. We also use simulation, which I can explain to you more about if you're interested, but we have some on-site simulation labs, so there can be some learning done before students go out on fieldwork placements. We do scenario-based learning. We do some interprofessional learning with our physiotherapy colleagues here, and you would be required to do fieldwork placements, quite a few of those, and also in our second year project placements, which if people are interested in, I can talk a little bit more about. So that is it. Let's see what's happened. There's a little thing here that says resume. Can you see? Anyway, doesn't matter. So I'm happy to take questions. I can see some questions in the chat. Okay, so questions. Sorry about the slides. I don't know what's going on.
Listen, no worries. There is a question from Catherine, and she asks, I would love to hear about the variety of placements that are offered.
So we try and cover a number of areas for all students throughout the course. You can't obviously be placed everywhere where all the different practice areas that people work in, but you will at least get one hospital placement while you're doing the course. Then you'll probably get a community placement of some kind. So that might be in a paediatric area or an aged care area or a disability area. So we'd classify those as community placements. And then it can be kind of anything. It might be mental health, could be with a private practice. So we take into account a number of things when looking at placements for students. So where they live in terms of proximity to campus or wherever the placements are offered, transport arrangements, and that sort of thing, and also some preferences, although, you know, it's difficult with lots of students because it's not only our course that's running, but we have an undergrad course as well, which has hundreds of students. So can't always get placements for students exactly where they want them, but the aim by the end of the course is for students to have experienced a range of different placement opportunities so they get some variety of experience. So the first 2 units, which would be from July to December, there's no formal clinical placements. But then the 3rd unit, which starts in January, so let's say in the next round would be January 2022. That's when the first lot of fieldwork clinical placements start, and that is when we would need international students to actually physically be here. So that's something we just need to consider.
Okay, fantastic. Dr. Barkley, thank you very much. Really appreciate your overview. Catherine just wrote thank you for answering that question in great detail.
That's fine.
So thank you for making time in your morning in Melbourne, and we finished right on time. So thank you for sticking to that as well. We appreciate that.
No problem.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Chris.
Emily. Okay.
See you. Bye.
Bye bye.